After many real estate experts predicted prices wouldn't come down, they have. Stay tuned to find out how much is it going to continue and how you can take advantage of it. So let's get into it. What is going on with the real estate market? Well, prices have come down. How do I know this? I run my own stats. I have my own little Excel spreadsheet set up, and I check average prices in all the different regions around where I live, Halton, Hamilton, Peel, etc., including Toronto. And so that I'm looking at bi-weekly price movements. And I also look at total supply, and I also look at the amount of supply that's coming on in the last week so that I can analyze where things are going. And so a lot of people don't really know about what's happening right now. A lot of realtors included. Are prices lower? That's a question that people are trying to answer right now because these statistics aren't readily available. You tend to get the year-over-year stats, which just make it look like the real estate market is perpetually going up when you're looking at this April versus last April. We want to know what's going on right now, April versus March. And what has happened is the highs of January and February, we are down as much as 10%. Now that's an approximate because of our sample size, but 10%, the range is probably going to be like 7 to 13 right now. That is a huge, huge decrease. And here's the bigger news for you. Last week, I saw supply go up. So after prices already came down around 10%, supply went up as much as 10 to 15%. So let me just tell you, if supply goes up after prices have already started going down, that means prices are probably going to come down even lower. So what do you do in a real estate market where prices are going down? Well, we know what you do when prices are going up. So what I'm going to suggest is doing the opposite. In a market where prices are going up, you buy first. Then by the time you sell your house, you've actually taken advantage of buying at a slightly lower price and selling at a slightly higher price as the market goes up. So that means right now, as prices are going down, if you sold first and you waited 2 to 3 weeks and then you bought, you could buy for a huge discount. So, if you're trying to go from a $1 million house to a $1.2 million house, by the time you sell your house for $1 million and then you wait 2-3 weeks and you go to buy, that $1.2 million house could be worth 1.15. Heck, it could be worth 1.1 with the immense decreases we've seen, because just from checking today, it looks like supply is continuing to go up. So the only way that this supply can be sold is by people reducing their prices, because the number of sales, even the number of sales are down. So it looks like demand has gone down and supply has gone up after prices came down, after prices started to decrease. So things have gotten worse. So, if you're looking out into the future, into the next 4 to 8 weeks, I would say it's almost impossible for prices to go up. It's very, very likely that they will go down, and maybe they will stay the same. Okay? So if you sell first and then you go to buy, you're going to have a lot of supply to choose from, and those poor sellers are going to have to take whatever you give them because of the huge amount of competition that they're going to be facing. So now is a huge, amazing opportunity to put your house on the market, sell for, what's happening right now is some people are actually getting prices from January and February. If a realtor who doesn't do a lot of sales takes their client into your house and the client says, what's it worth? And they look up a property from February, they might say, oh, it's worth $1 million, even though it's actually worth $950. Why would this happen? Because their most recent comparable sale might be back in February. It might not be this last week. If your last neighbor sold in February, people will think your house is still worth a lot of money. If your last comparable sold last week, they may or may not go, oh, wow, the last sale was $950. Never mind the $1 million sale that happened in February, the 950 is more relevant. So right now, sellers are actually, they might be thinking they're in a bad position because they're probably finding it not as easy as setting up a bidding war, but they're actually in a much better position today than they will be in 4 weeks. And what do I mean by sellers not feeling like they're in a good position? Well, bidding wars are pretty much done. What do I mean by that? In January, probably around 95% of homes were being sold in a bidding war. So they were saying, thanks for seeing the home. Oh, you want to make an offer? No, you have to wait until next week, right? And then when you show up next week, there's 10 other offers, right? And bidding wars were effective up until maybe a couple of weeks ago. So we sold a couple of houses, Mississauga and Burlington, and we had 9 offers on one and 16 offers on the other. Meanwhile, all the other listings were getting no offers. And so if you really know what you're doing, you can have a successful bidding war. But there is a point where supply reaches such high levels that it doesn't matter how savvy you are, your bidding war is not going to work. And if you were to say, okay, 95% were selling bidding wars in January, how many are selling in bidding wars now? Well, if you look at the current supply and you talk to the realtor and say, when are you taking offers? A staggering 90% are taking offers now. So it went from 95% bidding wars to 10% doing bidding wars. And what percent, I would want to know what portion of that 10% that are saying come back next week, what portion of them are going to get no offers next week, which means it's even higher than 90% are being sold without bidding wars. Maybe you are hearing this first from me, but you can walk into a property right now, April 29th, and they're probably saying, you can make an offer tonight. We'll look at it tonight. Please make an offer tonight, because they're very worried. People who have already bought and now they're getting ready to sell and they haven't been properly, advised on this process are in very tight spots, and they are willing to take whatever you give them because they're worried it's going to be even worse in 4 weeks, which, as you know, I'm predicting it will. So what you need to do now, if you are planning on moving in the next 3 years, you should contact me immediately. Why the next 3 years, Kirk? Why can't I just wait until next year? Well, interest rates are going up. So if you wait until next year, let's say your mortgage payment is going to be, $2,800 right now. It's going to be probably like $3,200 next year. That's right. By making the same move, selling the same house, buying the same house, you are going to pay an extra $400 a month for nothing, just because interest rates will be higher. That's like a car payment. So there's going to be a lot of people next year, when they look into moving, they're going to go, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. I can't afford to move. And the people who thought about moving this year and check back next year are going to be probably pretty upset, because they're going to realize, wow, I really should have moved when interest rates were lower so that I could have a lower payment and the bank would approve me for a higher mortgage. So get in touch with us. We are known for tailoring our advice to your specific needs to make sure that it works out. We have had 100% of our clients have closed and not had any issues doing the buying, selling, buying, whatever order they've done it in. None of our clients have ever had 2 houses or they become homeless. Why? Because we think about these things very deeply, and we do a very, very high volume, so we have a pulse on the market and we know what's going on and we've seen it all. And that's the point of a realtor, so that things go smoothly, you make money, you make more money than you would by yourself, and you reduce your risk and don't have anything go wrong. But guess what? Not every realtor can do that for you. 70% of realtors are doing less than 6 transactions a year. Don't forget that. How many transactions does a realtor need to be qualified? I would say at least 30. You know what? I think the stat on that, of how many realtors is doing above 30, if I remember correctly, I think it's like maybe 1 to 2%. 1 to 2% of realtors are doing that amount of volume. So qualify your realtor, then get their tailored advice to your specific situation. thanks for listening and watching my video, guys. You know, I release a lot of great content on Instagram as well, and as well on Facebook. And I try to, you know, instead of holding everything up and making it super formal, I try to give and release this content sooner and make it less formal and, you know, maybe a little bit less techy, but you're getting the information when it is very timely and relevant. And so again, more content I'll try and drop, and feel free at any time. I try to be very approachable, to call me, to text me. I'm always I hope you'll always feel like you hear a cheery voice on the other end of the phone. Again, I'm Kirk Fournier, your #1 reviewed agent for Oakville. I was #1 in Canada for 2020, and I'm here for you guys. Talk to you soon.